Hi, and thanks for joining the SJ Child Show. The SJ Child Show brings value to families through education and resources. But the SJ Child Show isn't just about me, it's about us as a community. Join me as we help educate and support our community, help bring kindness and love and inclusion to all. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen and watch. I really appreciate all the support from all of the viewers and listeners, and I just want to let you know I want you to join me on this journey. Come and follow my social media, and let's do this together. Enjoy the show. Introducing Autism Vehicle Home Safety Kits, Emergency Responder, alert stickers, personal profiles with autism needs and a communication board, masks and earplugs, keeping families and emergency responders educated and safe. Get yours today at sjchilds.org. Helping autism families impact their child's developmental milestones through home relocation, community resources, and home designs. For every 3 homes Natalie Castro sells, she funds and designs a sensory room for a community center servicing individuals with autism. She volunteers to coach law enforcement, first responders, and ER nurses how to have a positive experience for individuals on the autism spectrum. Hi, and welcome to the SJ Child Show. I'm your host, SJ Childs, and today I have a special guest. We're going to be airing this around April 2022. And did I say that right? Yeah, it doesn't sound like a real date, right? Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. But I'm so excited to have you here today, Kendra. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, I am so excited to be here, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about something that I'm so passionate about, is autism and how we can, as neurotypicals, relate better to those with autism and other neurodiversities as well. Some of that difficulty is what catalyzed me writing my first book and continuing to write additional, and also pursue my master's of psychology, and understanding my son and my husband better was a big part of all of that.
Isn't it incredible when you have that aha moment, especially I feel like with my husband, when I could take the experiences I knew of him as a child and the things that he went through and supersede it, put it over of the life of my own child. Oh my gosh, my eyes just opened, and it was like this, wait a second. Like, okay, turn to husband. How would you have wanted things to be done then? Like, let's go there. Let's do that.
Right. Yeah. And so is your husband officially diagnosed with autism?
Yeah. So that's really great because we've only chatted once in the support group before, but yeah, to know that. And my daughter. So I have 3, my oldest hasn't been officially diagnosed, but we were in therapy for like 12, 13 years, and nobody could ever diagnose her. They never diagnosed her with, anxiety, depression, and she was always on the fence of everything. And so for me, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. And that. Yeah. And I think that she really does too. I think that it's just, kind of her timing whenever she feels necessary or ready, if she wants to take that step to go. But I think that overall, it would really help the whole 20-something identity of it all. So
yeah, absolutely. My husband was only diagnosed a few months ago.
Oh, okay. Mine was about 5 years ago. So it's been about 5 years into play. And so, I love that.
Yeah. It's so interesting to have it, to watch them realize in watching them watch their children.
Yeah.
After our son was diagnosed, I kept going, honey, no, really, honey.
check.
Look, it's you.
Oh, isn't that true?
So, yeah. And so it took him about 5 or 6 years to go, oh, maybe you're right.
I know. Yeah. And you know what? The same thing. I just sat my husband down and I was like, yeah, I just finished, the ADOS test for the 5th time. And I was noticing some similarities between this one. And I also read your psychological eval from when you were 9 and like, how did they miss these things? Isn't it incredible to see the progress and the acceptance and overall just embrace of what autism is and what it truly looks like, and not just the severe whatever you saw on TV or heard about in a book when you were in 5th grade or something. Like it's interesting how we're trying to spread so much awareness, yet it seems never ending almost, doesn't it?
And I think I know that the TV shows that are out now, like The Good Doctor and Atypical and Big Bang Theory and Young Sheldon, they're walking a really fine line, I think.
Yeah.
And in some respects, I think that they're portraying some aspects of some people with autism really
yes, well. Exactly.
And in other areas, I think that they're over dramatizing it. And with The Good Doctor, how they portray the character as visualizing what's going on inside of the body. And it's these really dramatic pop out images that he seems to trace and things like that. And so I asked my son and my husband, I said, is this what happens to you when you're visualizing something? And my husband said, no, that's ridiculous. It doesn't jump out. So, no. I mean, does it run through your brain like that? Are you visualizing the computer systems that you're networking and things like that? And he went, oh,
well, of course I am. Yeah. Isn't that funny?
My son went, no, I see words.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Isn't that so interesting?
And it was so cool that they could both like verbalize that and understand that too about themselves and how they're processing the world.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
We were just watching, my husband and I were just watching videos just a couple days ago about aphantasia. And I didn't know that's when you can't visualize something. You see words or you see, instead of like picture an apple in your head with, what color of an apple would you see or what kind of an apple would you visualize? Well, some people, don't. Like for me, I don't know if it's because I'm an author and I'm a writer and so words are very important. I mean, I'm all about like, if I hear a word, I usually am spelling it out of my brain. And so to me, when I'm told about something, I like see it in a phonetic spelling. So yeah, that's so interesting.
Yeah. I definitely, I think I do both.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I'm not an artistic person at all. My writing, my books, my blog, everything are very factual, and I struggle with creative writing. So, my oldest and I are working on a graphic novel style superhero book about neurological and physical differences that kids have. That people have.
Yeah.
We're doing it toward kids in like a 4-ish to 12-ish range.
Okay.
And my child is doing all the illustrations because they're an amazing artist.
Certainly, right?
Yeah, and I'm totally lost on that. But, we're creating character profiles and what's this character's diagnosis and what's their superpower, what's a positive thing that kids or people with this diagnosis tend to be able to do very, very well. And we're going to combine the struggle with the positive thing.
I love that.
And they're gonna like fight crime or fight, whatever.
Yeah.
Thing. So
political correctness. Right?
So I'm just, and represent every kind of kid.
Yeah.
In there. So I'm really excited about where it's coming along.
And how proud you must be that they would want to participate and take part of that to not only empower themselves, but their peers and other children and teens. That's fast. That's wonderful.
Yeah. And their brothers, and
I love it.
It's just, it's amazing. They're an amazing human.
Don't you love that when they come into their space and they can just be proud of who they are, for who they are, and not have to rely on the likes or the filters or the comments. And that's such a rough place to be as a kid. I'm so thankful I grew up in the time of no recordings or phones stuck to my hand or face or anything for slightly paralleled reasons, but
yeah. And my kids are, because of them being homeschooled, they are, I think, a little bit less influenced by those outside voices,
absolutely.
Which is, I think it allows them to come into who they are. And the one type, if you, as parents, if there is only one small time that you can homeschool your child reasonably, middle school.
Yeah.
Do it during middle school.
Why not?
School is the absolute worst.
Yeah.
Kids are figuring out who they are. Puberty is right on the horizon. They're so confused with all of the hormones running through their minds and bodies, and trying to navigate who they think they are and marrying that with who their peers see them as and their parents see them, and all of those. It's so confusing. Yeah. So if you can kind of pull them in and give them a little bit more support during middle school, that is the time to homeschool. If that's all you can do. That's what I tell every parent.
I love that.
If you can only do it for a minute, do it during middle school.
I love that. And I want to kind of touch on a little bit something that relates to that. And that is like kind of daily routine, or let's face it, like my family, we run on our own, like everything. We run on our own eating schedule, sleeping schedule individually. Each individual person runs on their own schedule, which I think for us makes us very different, very diverse, and from society's 5 o'clock dinner time and 9:30 bedtimes and such. But we also, now you can understand completely when I see, husband takes, 4-hour naps, stays awake for 6 hours, goes to sleep for 3 more, stays awake for 4 hours, and I just see these patterns. And then we're questioning for years and years, why won't our son sleep through the night? Why is he awake for half of the month? Why is he asleep for half of the month? Like during different times of the night. And now I'm like, aha, I see where this is coming from.
Yes.
And instead of fighting it, because we don't have places to go, because we don't have to get up and be at school at 8 a.m., we have the flexibility to run off our own biological settings, which I think is beautiful. And we were watching something like Alone, where they're like in Alaska or Canada by themselves.
Okay.
And the one person said something about the fact that, society runs on the rules of man, and obviously nature runs off like chaos and nature, like in its own ways. Mm-hmm. And I think that we relate more to nature than we do to society. And that's just, the way that we do things here.
And that's wonderful that you guys are able to do all of that. And we do have to adhere to a more traditional sleep-wake schedule and all of that kind of thing.
Well, because you have to care for other family and things like that I don't have to take care of those things. So
but I
agree.
And we do that. We go there 3 days a week, and then the days that we're off from there, we go and volunteer at a therapeutic horseback riding facility.
Oh, I love that.
Just 10 minutes away. And so that again is earlier in the morning. So still we're kind of going to bed a little earlier and getting up earlier than, almost like a typical would be. But within our days, we aren't, we feed the horses and love on them for a couple hours in the morning. And then we come home, and Tuesdays and Thursdays are just kind of free days.
Isn't that nice?
I still usually have them practice their instruments, but beyond that, they can run around, or if it's a nice day and we have time, we may spend a lot of time outside cleaning up, getting winter ready and all that thing. And then on the days that we're at the at my sister's and brother-in-law, we still kind of follow our own thing. We do, when the kids do snack. So I have the 2 10-year-olds have ADHD.
Okay.
And so if I want them to be more calm and focused, they need something else to do. So when we sit down for morning snack is when I do read aloud and science and social studies.
Yeah.
Because they're there, they're occupied with something.
Exactly.
And so their brains can actually pay attention to what's going on. And then we take breaks and do some math, and then they take a break, and then they do their reading and they take a break, and they do their writing and they take a break, and they do their practice and they take a break.
So nice. So, yeah.
It's just these little snippets of time. I only need them to sit for 20 minutes. Maybe.
Exactly.
And if it's instrument practice, it's 30 minutes. But again, they're doing so many things all at the same time. They're reading music, they're playing their instrument, they're paying attention to a metronome. They're doing all those things all at the same time. So even for my ADHD people, it's engaging so much of their brains and bodies simultaneously that they can make it last for the whole half hour.
Right.
And they don't have an issue. So that's really being able to split up our day and be flexible.
I'm so sorry. We seem to have technical difficulties. We're going to jump right back in.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your books. And you said you're working on one. That sounds just so exciting. Tell us about the book that you wrote previously. And is it published? Do you have it out for everybody? Let's talk about it.
I do. It's published. It was published a little over a year ago.
Okay.
It is Growing Exceptional Seedlings.
Of course. Yes, I knew that actually. Yeah.
And it's, it's not huge. And one of the things I loved about it, one of my friends had this wonderful idea to, at the end of each chapter, put an empty page for parent notes.
Nice.
Because how often are we reading a book that's like so much information and we have to like scramble to find some place to write it down, and ridiculously busy. So, obviously the hardcover and the paperback have that feature.
I love that.
In the ebook as well, not as useful, obviously. And this is the first book that I was inspired to write. Mostly by my son and also my husband, and just my desire to get out more information about how to work with, raise, care for, teach these brains that work differently from ours.
Exactly.
And some of the struggle that I experienced, that my husband and I together experienced when our kids were very young. And how do I parent this kid who seems to have read all of the parenting books and knows all of the tricks before I? You're too smart. How do I do this? And some of the things that worked for us and some of the things that didn't work, but are, it didn't work for me, but maybe it'll work for you. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really great. I've gotten really great feedback on it.
I love that.
So, and it's available any online.
Great. We'll put links, definitely, so everybody can find it and go get themselves a copy.
Yeah.
And, I always love to tell people too, that sometimes even you can take journaling in any step you like it. You can journal obviously by writing, or you can do it, in your phone. You can do it mm-hmm. by coloring. There's so many ways you can get that expression and those feelings out. And so I love that you made that space available, because it is like that. It's like okay, I really want to try that with, my kid, but then you move on to the next chapter, read something new. You've moved on to pass that other information. So mm-hmm. that's fantastic.
Yeah. I tried to keep the chapters relatively short as well, because again, for the same kind of a reason, like, we're so busy and we want to be able to get these just little bites and things like that. So, as a parent, I wanted to provide something that was easy to access. Mm-hmm. And the spaces at the end for notes, doodles, whatever, the whole thing is, I love that you said giving space, because it just made me think of creating space for our people. Yeah. And so much of the time, I think that our practices, our research lead us to wanting to manage them.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think
they really don't need that. What they need is space to be themselves.
Yeah.
And for us to understand that and create it and help them create it for themselves.
Exactly.
So all of our kids have spaces that are safe for them and to express themselves however they need to. Even though our boys share a room, we put up a curtain in between, so that if they want to engage with each other, they can open the curtain, and if not, they can close it. And so they both still have their private, separate spaces to do their own thing.
Yeah.
But they can come together when they choose to. And then our younger son, who's 10, he also has space in the basement with my husband, where they have like soldering stuff set up and a
cool
and all of that kind of
stuff. Wow.
Because he's that kind of maker.
Yes.
So that feeds him a lot as well. So I'm working on 5 books.
Oh my gosh.
Simultaneously.
Oh, I get it, right?
I don't know why. So, I'll be inspired. Oh, I need to write this. And I'm like, okay, which book does that go in? So one is, in addition to wanting to address and support parents of neurodivergent kids, I also have a passion for just educating everybody about all the different kinds of people we see every day.
Yeah.
And how, because sometimes we're so afraid of what we don't understand.
Exactly.
But if we can understand it, then there's no reason to be scared.
Yeah.
So that's one of the other books I'm writing. It includes things like invisible chronic pain disorders and epilepsy and dyslexia and then visible things too, like people with wheelchairs or kids in wheelchairs or leg braces and walking assistive devices, and people who dress or look differently from us for whatever reason, veils and burqas and things like that.
I love that.
And also the LGBTQ plus community as well. And, we just don't understand so much.
Yeah. Agreed.
So that's one that I'm working on.
One of our quotes for the SJ child is a little bit of knowledge turns fear into understanding. And it is exactly what they need. And that's all that kids need. They don't need a 12 course thing on it. They just need a little bit of knowledge. They just need to have the light shine on it. And they're like, okay, I can work with that. I can deal with that. They're not they're not out there like looking for things to be judgmental about. They just don't understand what they don't understand.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the same with so many adults too, I was raised in a pretty white area until there was one year that I went to a neighborhood school and it was more diverse, which was great. And then we moved again to a predominantly white area in the South.
Yeah.
But thankfully my parents made sure to expose us to more than that.
Yeah.
And taught us sensitivity and that, they look different. That's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
They have a story just like you do. And their story is just as important, and just as worthy. So I was thankful for that. And I'm, my kids get to be around a ton of different kinds of people because we homeschool. And so we get to do all of these other things. One of the other ones I'm working on is my 10-year-old, in addition to his ADHD and executive function difficulties and sensory processing disorder, also has severe food allergies.
Oh, goodness.
So I'm writing our journey basically about that. And I've reached out to other parents of allergic kids to include their stories a little bit.
That's great.
And different experiences that we've each had in our learning about allergies and how to parent a kid with allergies. And unfortunately we're having him assessed also for OCD. It's possible that his anxiety about food allergies has turned into contamination OCD.
Oh, interesting.
Specifically. So we're working with a therapist who also happens to be mine and my husband's therapist. And she's just amazing.
That is so nice too, when they can see the whole family picture.
Yeah.
And not just one part of the family and try to fix it to fit into the rest of the family.
Right.
Love that.
Yeah. And she's just fabulous and she's wonderful with our son. And so we're just trying to figure out, what's causing his additional anxieties and how to address those. So that'll go into the book as well.
Yeah, definitely.
That experience. And, obviously I don't know how to prevent it because I couldn't. And I don't know if it is preventable. It may just be a layer that some kids fall into and others don't.
Yeah.
And the other two books are kind of opposites of each other. And, there are so many early parenting books out there.
Yes.
I don't remember what to expect
when you're expecting or whatever. Yes.
In your first year and the second year and things like that. And they're just kind of like little snippets of different things to do. But when you have your actual baby and you look back at some of those things and it says some babies do this and some babies do that and some babies do this. And you still kind of look at it and go, but mine's kind of doing that, but this.
Yeah.
You know? So is this still normal? And their working titles for these are Dear New Mom or Dad, whatever, mom and dad. That's totally normal, or that's really not normal.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Something else to look at, right?
Yeah. And addressing it in a playful, fun, connecting way that's like, this is, so, you know what? Your kid rolled over at 3 weeks old. That's not normal, I promise. It's okay. Nothing's wrong. It's just not normal.
Yeah.
Your kid crawled at 5 months. Mine too. No, you can't tie bricks to his ankles.
Yeah. Yeah. How is he crawling out of a crib? He's only 8 months old, right? Tiptoe, how to place it. It's like, what?
Right. And how to, like, you know, navigate. I have this kid that's literally running away from me, but doesn't understand that those cars are going to hurt them because their brain can't process that information because they're not even a year old yet.
Exactly.
You know, and how do I keep my child safe in that situation? Or, you know, my kid appears to be counting and they're only 1, but they can't talk yet. So what's going on?
Exactly. No, I remember going to the pediatrician saying just that, like, he's reading, he's 1 year old. And he was like, I should be making these sounds, should be, sorry, you know, and I was like, what? Like, how could you say that? Right.
Yeah.
Oh, funny.
Weird, language development.
Yeah.
So, my son with autism, Will, is what we call him in all public scenarios like this. He was not completely nonverbal, but difficult to understand and not as verbal as typical kids would be until he was about 4. And he read and spoke intelligibly, like right at the same time. Yeah. And we're going, could you read already?
Yeah, right.
But we just didn't know it.
Yeah.
Or like, what happened here? But his speech development, my bachelor's degree is in elementary education. I worked in a preschool. I've worked in photography studios. I've been babysitting since I was 9. I have been around developing like kids for a long time. So when my son was saying the ends of words only, I'd never heard that before.
Right.
It was the weirdest thing. And to this day, I still haven't heard it again. I've never heard a kid develop language like this.
I call it the puzzle. I mean, I felt like I was always the puzzle master. And our son would say things like, what was something he said that we never could figure out for years? We couldn't figure out. Don't use the steel. He would say, he would get really, really upset and say, don't use the steel. Don't use the steel. We never, ever, ever figured out. Well, I mean, until like years later. And it was something like a broomstick that was in between 2 windows so that the windows wouldn't open. You know, it would keep the windows shut. And nope, don't move that. Don't move that. So keep the window shut. And for some reason, he got it. That is what he recalled for being that moment, being upset about not being able to open the window or whatnot. And so from that point forward, for the longest time, don't use the steel. And he'd be mad and angry. And we would be like, we don't understand what this means. It's like the strangest language we've ever seen in our lives. Yeah, it was. And the same thing, he was like recreating, you know, the seating chart of his preschool table. He would take crayons and color on the wall, and he'd make a table and write all the students' names around it. But yeah, there was still like this lack of verbal communication happening. So it's incredible to see all of those functions and to not have seen it. I kind of think it's funny. I did the same thing. I worked in preschools and had been, just had done so much with kids that for us, it was like, oh, well, he's our first biological child. Well, we don't, probably fine, kind of a thing.
I even asked our doctor about it because he was 3. And our oldest, I knew not to compare him to our oldest because their language development was ridiculously rapid. They went from saying, a handful of words at 8, 9 months to paragraph conversations with adult style give and take by 1.5.
Yeah.
And people would pull me aside in public and go, how old is this? I'd be like, 1.5? No, that can't be. They're just small for their age.
Yeah,
no.
right. Small humans.
So, I knew not to compare Will to Rory because Rory's language development was fast and I knew not to compare. And then I had people telling me, oh, it's because he has an older sibling that he's not talking because sibling does all the talking for him.
Aren't all the other people's reasons just like that?
We didn't let Rory talk for him.
Yeah.
We expected our children to communicate for themselves, and we didn't let Rory do it. And so we taught Will sign language. And by the time he spoke, he had nearly 400 signs. So he was communicating efficiently. It wasn't verbal. And so that's one thing that kind of irks me a little bit when people talk about nonverbal children is they say they don't communicate. No.
Crazy. Yeah.
They are communicating.
Yeah.
You just can't understand them because they're speaking a different language.
Exactly.
Let's try and match languages here. So, we used a lot of sign language. Maybe that's what works for some kids. Maybe parents and kids develop their own kind of communication pattern, whether it's sign language or Klingon or
right,
whatever other.
Use the steel.
Right. Yes, if only you could have figured out what that meant. And there, even at that, even though we had sign language, there were still so many things that you could just see it in their brains. Where something's going on and you can tell that they just need to tell you what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this, they know that you don't understand, but they need you to understand.
Yeah.
And it's our job as their parents to figure out how to understand.
Exactly.
So, and that's
so
going to be different for every parent and child pairing.
Exactly. I love the way you said that too. It's not just up to the child. It's really unique in that child-parent relationship. And, not to mention, and for parents with kids in school, that child to teacher relationship.
Yeah.
And that trust that's developed between those relationships I see the closeness between my husband and my son, and how sometimes I'll feel like he opens up to him a little bit more. And I don't think it's because he doesn't want to, share things with me as much as he's a boy and he's sharing things with his dad. And I think that it's so special. And so grateful for that. They can have the understanding for one another and that we can facilitate that for our household. I do like
and that they both have a similar neurological subtype.
Yes.
Definitely not the same, because every person with autism is different.
Absolutely. Yes.
But it's interesting. So we have 2 sons, and my husband relates better to Will, who has autism, and not so well with Mac, who he does not have autism.
Yeah.
He's not neurotypical.
Yeah.
But autism isn't his diagnosis. And he, so we, and the boys embrace these nicknames and love them and play into them hard. We call Will Order and Mac Entropy.
Oh,
and it's very, very true. Mac has been, it always seemed like he was bent on destroying everything in the house. When really he's just engineering and he wanted to figure out how does this work, but that resulted in breaking things.
Yes.
And as many well-known engineers, he's not terribly organized in his life. So that is a sticking point between Mac and Will, and also between Mac and my husband. And me, I'm definitely a very organized type A personality. Otherwise, there'd be no way I could do all of the things I do.
Exactly.
But my husband really struggles to understand, like, we've told you a million times to wash your dish after you eat. Why are you still not doing it?
Yeah.
And just because his brain is
there. Yeah. It's not like a priority or even an urgency or anything. Yeah.
No. And what, we're working really hard on getting him to do, okay, this is priorities have to be done. We will not interrupt your play. We will not interrupt your learning, whatever it is that you're doing, provided the things are done.
Yeah.
First. Like, I told you that after snack, you needed to wash your dish, do the thing, do the next thing. And instead you didn't wash your dish. You half did one of the things, totally forgot about the other, and you're out on your bike.
Yeah.
So we're working on
strategizing.
Yeah. And helping him remember, okay, you were given 3 tasks.
Yeah.
What were they? Did you complete them? Okay, you took the trash out of the bag or out of the bin, but then what goes back in the bin?
Yeah.
Like, you half did the job. So
interesting. Have you tried timers? I don't know. My brain just said that. I don't ever do that. I would never do that, but I just thought of it right a second for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, we've talked about timers. It's not something that works for him with doing different tasks. It works great for his instrument practice.
Yeah.
We've tried doing visual lists too.
Mm-hmm.
And then they become so much a part of his surroundings. He forgets to look.
I do the same thing. Oh my gosh. Don't forget this important note you wrote. Now I've looked at it 25 times and I don't even look at it anymore.
Yeah. So like, if that were going to work, we'd have to like change the color of the construction paper that we put up,
right.
2 days or something like that, because it's going to become so much a part of his. It just is going to blend into the background at some point, and that's not helpful. So that's something that we're trying to figure out.
Exactly.
So
the sun has set. It looks like your darkness has set in.
Yes. Well, it's Michigan. It
is 6 o'clock. Huh?
My husband was just knocking on our door to have me turn on the lights because he's grilling dinner.
Oh, nice, nice.
He was like, could you turn on the light? Sorry.
Oh, funny. These husbands, right? Well, I'm so glad we got to get together today, and make sure that you send me all the links to everything so that I can have them all ready for everything. But this has been so much fun, and we should definitely do it again.
Absolutely.
And and I think there's so many more topics we could cover. We could go on forever, probably.
Right? We could just go chapter by chapter.
Exactly. Oh, I love it. No, I think that is so important. Lots of value to share. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Thank you. And so, sorry about the little snafu in the middle, which nobody will probably even know now that I'm mentioning it. They will, but just in case, right? So I appreciate that. We will definitely be in touch and make sure that everybody checks out Growing Exceptional Seedlings and also some upcoming books that she has. And we'll make sure to keep in touch so that we can promote those when they come out as well. Thanks for being here, Kendra.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really fun.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah.